Hey, what is up guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be answering an age-long questions. Do pre-built suck?
But first, a word from today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by GVGMall, an online marketplace to gain access to some really awesome discounted game keys and more specifically Windows 10 licenses.
So if you guys use the link in the description down below, type in code TB20, you'll get 20% off your Windows 10 Pro activation key, and then you just take the key that they give you, you type into the Windows 10 activation, and that's it, you have Windows 10 activated.
We use GVGMall to buy the Windows 10 keys for a lot of computers. Like all of these computers, we use GVGMall, and it's a very helpful resource that you can use today by using the link in the description down below and also using code TB20 at checkout to save 20%.
So let's continue this video.
Okay guys, so as Jackson mentioned, the focus of this video is pre-built systems and the common misconception but also reality of why they suck. So we have a variety of pre-builts right here. Jackson's going to go over some of them, and we're going to start right here with this Optiplex and exactly why this thing is actually a good value.
So this PC off to the right here, this is the beautiful Optiplex. So there's a really wide variety of Optiplexes. It's made by Dell. They actually still make Optiplexes, but this is an old one. This is an i5 2400. It came with some sort of hard drive, probably 4 to 8 gigs of RAM, and well, it's a second gen i-series computer. So it's pretty old, but the beauty of it is that this computer was like 40 bucks, and you really can't beat that. Now, will it game? No, it will absolutely not game out of the box, but it can be made to game. We've made plenty of videos that they can be made to game.
Common upgrades you can do with Optiplexes are throwing in graphics cards that don't require external power. Don't use this one. This is like a 5450.
It's an example.
It's an example, but you can get cards like 1650s, 1050s, 1050 Ti's, RX 460s. There are a ton of gaming level cards that won't require that external power that normally higher end graphics cards do require. And the reason you would do that is because normally the power supplies in these things are not that powerful. But the beauty again of Optiplexes is they don't use proprietary connectors. They use the same exact connectors that you would use if you built a new gaming PC today. A 24 pin, a 4 pin or 8 pin power connector for the CPU, and then everything else is pretty much standardized. So with an Optiplex, you do have the ability to pick one up for super cheap, add a good power supply, a modern power supply, add a modern graphics card, and be able to do the normal upgrades that you would normally be able to do with a system you build yourself here in 2019.
So this pre-built here is actually one that we're giving away, so don't forget to check that out, in the link down below. But this one here is an HP, and really the brand doesn't matter much. It's just the fact that it's a 3rd gen i-series processor. This has a 3570 i5 in it, and it just so happens that if you look in here, there's not a 24 pin. There's like a random 8 pin, and there's like the normal 4 pin for the CPUs. So this system does not actually have the ability to upgrade the power supply. You technically can, but you're gonna have to buy an adapter, and at that point we're talking about things that aren't exactly compatible. So we're gonna say that it technically doesn't have the upgrade ability, but there is a graphics card in it because like Matt said, you can get one that does not require the external power, or you can use an adapter and just kind of risk it, which in this case, why not? And then you can upgrade things like RAM, you can upgrade things like the solid state drive, and that's how you can actually get a decent system at that point.
The main reason people do stay away from these, as Jackson mentioned, is the fact that you can't upgrade the power supply. So normally we don't recommend you go out of your way to get these. You should lean more towards the Optiplexes or start building a system on your own. But at the end of the day, people go to pre-builts because they don't want to build a PC. And if you're just getting a pre-built like this and upgrading with the graphics card, at the end of the day, it's going to be okay as long as the power supply has enough wattage to support whatever graphics card you're doing. If you are adapting using SATA or Molex, which we've done in countless videos, we'll leave some examples in the top right corner. But overall, proprietary power supplies are one of the #1 reasons why people hate pre-built systems.
And speaking of proprietary, this Lenovo right here will actually be in a video soon. You're probably thinking, we just saw that. Well, that was actually a different Lenovo that's right over there. That one has an i3 8100. This one has a Ryzen 2200G, a little bit better of a system for a better price. That's why we're making a video on it. But long story short, this one here is proprietary out the butt. So the motherboard is totally proprietary. The front IO is actually built into the motherboard, so that kind of basically makes sure you can't put it in any other case. And then the power supply is a small form factor. Actually, it's a mini ITX power supply. It's one of those long ones, and it's really low wattage. It's like 180 watts, and it uses the special like 4 to 8 pin power connector. So yeah, you really can't do much with it, but the upgrades that you can do is you can upgrade the RAM. You can go up to 16 gigs on a system like this. It comes with 8. You can upgrade to a solid state drive. It makes a massive difference in like everything. And lastly, you can upgrade the graphics card. Don't use this one, just But use something like a 1050 Ti, a 1050, like Matt said, RX cards. I mean, there's all kinds of cards that don't require external power. This one though, we do not recommend trying to adapt because there's no room to be able to put an adapter, and you're like risking it at that point because it's a 180 watt power supply. Most cards that just use the rail will max out at 75 watts, which you're pretty much safe with that because we've done it like 5 times now.
Now, buying these new pre-builts, 90% of the time, they're not really worth doing. We here like to do it for you because we have the money to spend on it, and we can show you why it's either a good or a horrible idea. But again, it all comes down to these new pre-builts. When you're buying on the used market for things like this, these aren't sold new anymore. So you're getting really good prices on used stuff. And that's why we here preach that you buy used hardware if you're looking to save some money. New pre-built systems, in most cases, don't make a whole lot of sense because one, they're marked up way higher than if you built a system like this on your own. I bet you could do an A320 motherboard with a 2200G, 8 gigs of RAM in a custom case for probably the same price that you would, if not a little bit less than this right here. But sometimes you can actually get good bargains. This was on sale for $349, which isn't that far off from what it would cost to build one yourself. But at the end of the day, these new pre-built systems, the company's got to make a profit margin. They have to make money, so you're going to be spending more money for that. And if that's okay with you, just know what you're trading off, like the proprietary power supply, the fact that you're stuck in this case, and really the fact that you're going to have to either buy a new pre-built within the next 3 or 4 years if you want to do any major upgrades, or end up building a system later on. If you're okay with that, then this is a decent option, but just know there are a lot of trade-offs for what you're getting.
So one big thing that we'd also like to point out is almost any of these systems, to make them like a usable system, and yes, they are usable with hard drives, but in this day and age, in 2019 and Windows 10 using as many resources as it does, an SSD is almost essential. On top of the graphics card and more RAM, the SSD is like what's going to make the biggest difference in our opinion, unless you're actually gaming. Of course, the graphics card will make a big difference, but as far as loading up the games, loading up Windows, and just typing things, I was trying to reset the computer over there with the hard drive. I had to type in reset about 12 times, and it took like 10 minutes for me to even find the reset menu. So yeah, hard drives in 2019 just do not cut it anymore.
Especially with those newer pre-builts, they come with a lot of bloatware, which is basically programs that companies pay to install on these hard drives when they launch so they can just get free users out there, and it lowers the cost for the seller, but it really slows down an operating system, especially on a hard drive. So even if you do get one of these new ones, budget out an SSD and learn how to install Windows, and use our sponsor, GVGMall, to get a discounted Windows 10 key when you do that, if you can't transfer the license. But SSDs, as Jackson mentioned, are essential, and overall, I would say pre-builts have kind of a common misconception that they're all junk. There are some cases where they make a whole lot of sense, like these two right here. They make a ton of sense if you can disregard the proprietary power supply in this HP. And then on the other spectrum, if you're buying a new pre-built system, there are a lot of drawbacks, and you do have to know those before you walk into your Office Max and have to answer 1,000 different questions about getting a warranty, customer service, and everything like that before you can buy a computer, only to realize you can't upgrade it all that much.
And of course, one of the biggest advantages to any of these pre-builts is the fact that you're not gonna have to build a computer from scratch. So you do keep that in mind. I mean, you're kind of spending like a convenience fee, because Matt and I literally just went out and bought this. We went out and bought it today in person, no questions asked. We have a computer here now that works. And as long as we throw a graphics card in it, an SSD and some RAM, we have a really, really good system here. It's just, you're spending probably, I would say 20% more overall than if you just built the system yourself. But if you're scared of building systems yourself and that's something that you don't want to venture onto, then any of these systems would work fine for you. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out our sponsor GVGMall down below, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Adios. Buy an Optiplex in the link down below if you want one. Yeah. Affiliate link, support the Toasty Bros. Yay!